This one, Judge, you have the up and down volume on it. So that picks up the actual volume that he is talking. That's so like if he's blowing everybody out, you can turn it down here. But
I think last year I just said that.
you're announcing?
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
one.
I'm announcing.
Okay. That, and then your line in and your mic volume are the only two things you need to worry about in your for yesterday's show, every other show. You just set them and
Okay. All right. It should be straight
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
And then just on and off. Okay. Cool.
I don't talk on this. I was upset that I had to do the radio interview.
I saw that.
I was not happy.
How'd it go, Jared? Did you do?
I don't talk well enough to be on the radio. That's why I don't do
They
this.
don't see your face, so you should be. Are you gonna test it? Is that, or is I'm just?
I don't care what you do. It's your show.
It's not my show. All right. I figured. I was like, it's the weekend now. It's nice and cool out. Know about it. Yeah. It'll be all good.
Actually, I was superintendent for the Borgers show.
Do you want to create a barrier
Yeah,
now?
the state fair. We have largely have been able to species of
Buddy. Buddy, or Shayna, do you want to create a barrier now? It's 9. It's whatever you want to do. I don't know.
I mean, if it hits like where it's 7. It's what I might end up
What?
doing.
I'm going to close this.
There's the boat that looks like the silk sail.
It's 9:01. I say we do it. That's a full sentence. Let's do it. I guess maybe screw that.
Hey, you want me to start or you want to wait for Matt?
Oh yeah, he's ready. Let's do it.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Can you hear me? Okay, welcome to the 2023 Mills County Fair Goat Show. I'd like to thank our sponsors first off, the Don Gleason Memorial, Goats & Co., Mills County Fair Board, Triple F Farms, Barrett Heating and Air Conditioning, Gary House Development, the New Meister family, Hilltop Animal Hospital, Grady family, Glenwood State Bank, Bob and Janice Moore, Mills and Montgomery County Corn Growers Association, Paul Mellencamp Memorial, Vince Farms, B&B Farms. And I'd also like to introduce our superintendent, Matt Foose, and I'd like to introduce our judge for the day, Doug Glazer, and he has a few things to say about the event.
Okay, it's a beautiful day, a wonderful day to have a goat show. The goats are going to be relaxed and they're going to enjoy it, but I wanted to talk to the exhibitors for just a minute, tell them what we kind of expect because as a judge, I'm going to use the Danish judging system, which 4-H uses, and purple means your project, you've went above and beyond. Blue means your project is finished, completed, everything's good. Red means you need little help with your project, and white means you need quite a bit of help. And so I don't want anyone to be discouraged if they would happen to get a red, because it just means you need a little bit of help. It's not saying anything derogatory towards you, just maybe you need a little help with your project. And in the show world, you know, sometimes we get all hooked up on getting the banner and the trophy and the purple ribbon, and you know, those things are all nice, but what's more important is the memories that you're going to make right out here in this ring with your friends, and memories that you'll carry through a lifetime. So having the champion is great, but just participating is wonderful too. So I'd like you all to have a wonderful day. Enjoy the day. We're going to have a lot of fun. It's cool. The goats are going to enjoy it, and we're going to enjoy it. I see you have a very diverse goat show. I'm an ABGA sanctioned judge. I've judged boar goat shows in 30 states. I've judged 15 state fairs. I've judged miniature fainting silkies in Texas. I've judged several Mytonic shows, and I've judged all kinds of dairy goat shows and pygmy shows, so I don't think you're going to have anything here that I won't be aware of. All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, let's do it.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, first class of the day is going to be the dairy miniature dairy goats, does under 5 years in milk. That's going to be our first class. First contestant is going to be Moknat Montgomery and Moknat Celine.
Okay, we're gonna. Are they on? Hello? Okay, we're going to start with the little brown doe, a doe that's very correct in her phenotype as far as dairy characteristics. We really like how extended she is through that neck, how sharp she is in the withers, how angular she is. We like to see that triangle shape from the withers to the hips. And what's really impressive about her, she has a really good reach. With that back foot, she reaches right up into where she left off with her front foot. She's in milk. She's showing me a nice little udder. She does have a little pocket. We'd like a little better fore-udder attachment, but she has a really nice rear-udder attachment. She'll be your first place blue ribbon doe. Our second place doe, a doe we're going to grant stature to her, but she's just not as sharp over those withers as the doe ahead of her. She's not in milk today as she tracks. She doesn't have quite the same reach. As you notice in her natural stance, she wants to stand close in that rear. We'd like for her to have a more wide stance because then when she has a really large capacious udder, she has room for it. Give both these exhibitors a big round of applause. They'll both have blue ribbons.
Congratulations to Montgomery for first, Nina for second. Okay, folks, our next class is going to be the miniature dairy goats, does 1 year to under 2 years, not impression. First contestant is going to be Braylon Myers.
When you do the trophies, will they also have a ribbon on it, or just the trophies?
Okay, folks, also this afternoon we had the ugly cake contest and the Lego contest at 11:30 at the Orbeck Commons area, and then at noon a tractor parade. So make sure you don't miss the tractor parade.
Okay, we only had one doe in this class. This is the class 1 to 2 years old, not in milk. So she has the advantage of not having to be in production. But that's given her a little disadvantage too because with her not being in production, she's gained a little more weight than we'd like for her to have in a dairy animal. But having said that, she does show me sharpness over the withers. She shows us a lot of spring to that rib. She's really level in that hip. And as she tracks, she's pretty wide in her movement. She's a nice little young lady. She's going to get a blue ribbon. And she's going to stay in here, and we're going to vie for the champion drive. You're the youngest, right? So you come right here.
If we could get Selena in Montgomery here, the champion drive.
Okay, as we select our drive, I like to get a little bit excited about the drive. The kids have been working with these projects all summer long. They just get to be in the ring for a couple minutes. And so, you know, in the cattle industry, in the cattle world, the judge comes out and slaps the steer or heifer on the side, and everybody goes, hooray, hooray. And so I'd kind of like to do that, but I got in trouble when I slapped the goats with PETA. So then I slapped the exhibitor and I got in trouble for that. So now I'll just go out and shake your hand. But when I shake your hand, I'd like for the audience to really, you know, give them a great big round of, give them.
Hello?
Okay, I'm technically not that great either. I'm technically challenged, but anyway, give a great big hooray. The doe that's going to win this for us is the doe that's the most complete doe today, the doe that stands on a great set of legs. So she's very correct on her feet and legs. A doe that shows us very much dairy character. She's really sharp over those withers. She's very angular, what we want to see. She's well sprung in the rib. She's got a nice little udder going for me, and she'll be your champion. We're going to use this doe as our reserve champion dairy doe. Give everybody a great big round of applause.
Congratulations to Braylon for reserve champion doe. Champion dairy doe is by Goats and Go. Thanks for their sponsorship. Reserve champion dairy doe is presented by Milton County Fair Association. Thank you for their sponsorship. Congratulations, guys.
You have a dog?
What's that?
You have a dog?
I do. She is off at my parents' house with her parents, but I do
Oh,
miss her.
I got a cat.
Yeah?
It's a cat.
And I was just made aware that we actually have a prize for whoever can come up and answer this question to me. What is a baby goat called? You have to come over here and tell me what it's called, and you get a prize. What is a baby goat called?
Huh?
Okay,
We have a winner. We have a winner. The answer was kid.
because myotonic thing has really started to grow, and it's really evolved. When I first started judging myotonics, they weren't as concerned about the structural conformation as they were about the muscle integrity. But I didn't listen, and I still like to pick animals that are conformationally sound and correct. And it's not because of me, but the industry evolved that way as a whole. And so we've got a little doe out here that's going to win this thing for you. She's just ultra correct on her feet and legs. A doe that when you handle her over the top, she starts with this beautiful rib shape, comes back into an extremely wide hip for me, and then she shows levelness from hooks to pins. In her natural stance, you can see she stands wide. We really appreciate that. And in the Metonic world, I could tell when he started bringing her in, she was, you know, she was thinking maybe she might want to faint. And when I first started judging myotonics, I used to turn them loose because that's the way we do boar goats sometimes. And when they'd see each other coming, they'd faint. So I kind of quit doing that. Our little doe here in second, we're going to grant size to the doe ahead of her. She's just wider in the chest floor. She has a different kind of rib shape. She's really bolder in her appeal, but you've still got a doe that's correct on her feet and legs. I really like the correct set to her rear leg. That's very important, and so keep breeding for that. And then again, the myotonics are coming up in the, I think they're just going to keep getting better and better, so congratulations on the breed you've chosen. Give them both a great big round of applause.
Two blues, you said?
Two blues.
Okay.
Congratulations to Maximus Parker for first and Lillian Parker for second.
Good job.
Our next class is going to be the novelty does, myotonic fainers, myotonic does under 5 years old.
I was here to help you if your partners
Again. Hello? Okay, we're going to start with the little blonde doe. She's just showing us a more amount of muscling. She has a little better rib shape and design than the black doe. She shows a lot of levelness throughout. Very correct set to her rear leg. We really like the fact that she's starting to show us that muscle and that metonic feature that we're looking for. We'd like to maybe give her a little extension in that neck, blend her a little smoother in the shoulder, but she's very, very muscular for us. That's what we want to see. My little black doe here, she truly was trying to faint as she came in the door. She stands on a great set of feet and legs for us. She shows extension in that neck, refinement in the head. She's just a little, maybe not quite as heavily muscled. She's showing definition of muscling, but not quite as heavily muscled as the little blonde doe. She's not as level from hooks to pins. In her natural stance, she doesn't stand as wide. But two nice does, and in fact, this little black doe is the mother of the two younger does that just came in. Both blue ribbons. Give them a big round of applause.
Yeah, I gave it to you.
Okay, next we have our grand champion novelty doe drive, or reserve champion novelty doe drive for the 2-to-1 and go classes.
Yay, I get to do. Oh. Hey, where's your helper?
Hang on.
I'm Mariah to go help with baby contest. Oh, that's right. I knew that. Correct. And then grand champion first, reserve second. You got this. Julia said she should be first. Which was a lot. It's fine. Everything's fine right now.
Exactly. That's
I'm
exactly
feeling fine.
right. Everything is fine.
It's going great.
Everything's great. Exactly that. It's all good. Just think, you are shining bright.
Yeah.
Got it. Can you do us a favor?
Maybe.
Can you, when they award the grand champion and reserve champion, can you tell us tack numbers?
Okay, we appreciate these exhibitors. They've got started into the Mytonic goat industry, and they're doing a great job. The doe that's going to win for us is the doe that just shows us the most exciting qualities as far as correctness on her feet and legs, extension in that neck, the design that she has on her rib, the spring that she has in her rib, then the muscle that she carries on her inner thigh, and the width that she has in her natural stance. The doe that's going to be reserved follows her very close and type in kind, maybe not quite as much extension in the neck, not quite as much muscle on the inner thigh, but certainly two does that these exhibitors have bred, and they're making advances from the does they started out with. So they'll both get blue ribbons, and give them a great big round of applause. Oh, I guess I better pick who they are.
Congratulations to Parker Maximus for grand champion presented by Paul Miller Memorial, and Lillian Parker for winning presented by Gary and Alice Bozeman. And our presenter is going to be Jolie Johnson. Thank you guys. Great way to go. Folks, remember, stock sale is going to be held at 4 p.m. on Tuesday, July 11th. Reminder for 4-H is to have your auction animal paperwork turned in by Monday at 2 p.m.
Max got champion and his goal was the one in the first class. And then Charlie got second was the second class. I wasn't telling you before.
Thank you, Jolie. You're amazing.
Thanks, Jolie.
You can go ahead and announce the next class.
Okay.
Hey folks, our next class is going to be the breeding meat does under 6 months. First presenter is going to be Lydia Foos. And then we have Rosalind Call, Peyton Liddell, Stella Mayberry, and Jensen Wilson. Just want to thank some of our sponsors for this class: Hilltop Animal Hospital, Ray Family, Woodwood State Bank, Bob and Janice Moore, Mills and Montgomery County Corn Growers Association, Paul Mellencamp Memorial, Benton Farms, and B&B Ranch. And we actually have one more trivia goat question. Winner that comes up and announces it to me gets a prize. The question is going to be, how long is a goat pregnant for? How long is a goat pregnant for? If you know the answer, come claim your prize.
Are they doing champion stuff
Let me tell you. Okay, so what we're doing.
Folks, don't forget, this morning at 11, we're going to have the rubber chicken chuck contest. Rubber chicken chuck contest. I have no idea what that is, but it sounds exciting.
Oh, just like that.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to start with the big dapple doe. She's just bigger overall in her mass and shape and size. A doe that stands on a great set of legs for me. Really appreciate how correct she is on her feet and legs. I really appreciate how correct she is on the rear set of her leg. A doe that shows us width in that chest floor. She's got really well sprung in that rib for me, wide in that hip, really wide in her natural stance. Just a beautiful doe to win this for us. My doe in second follows her very close in type and kind. I would suspect they're probably from the same farm, the same breeding, because they're very typical in their design, very correct on their feet and legs. They show us width in that chest floor, spring a rib. This is just a smaller version of that doe. So we come into the black doe. We'd like to just tighten her up in that front set of her leg, give her a little more correct set to her rear leg. But having said that, she shows us a lot of strength and boldness out over the top. She's well sprung in the rib, wide in the hip, very wedge-shaped and maternal. So we come into the traditional doe. She wants to get just a little bit loose in that shoulder for us. We'd like to correct the front set of her leg. She wants to fall off really sharp from hooks to pins. And then we'd like to, again, correct the rear set of her leg. But a really long-bodied doe that has that maternal look for us. And then as we come into the black-headed doe, a doe that's just more juvenile in her day of age, so it's going to be harder for her to compete with those does that are older. She just hasn't had the time to develop into what they are. But a doe that does stand on a nice set of legs for me. We'd like to make her just a little more level from hooks to pins, but again, give them all a great big round of applause.
Congratulations to all participants.
Did you like Lydia's bump up? She still is.
I did. I did see it. She said she needs it. I told her about that too.
We're not getting awards for this class.
I think there's 3 or 4 classes, and then they'll all come back together and give. Where's Dan Miller? Who? Dan Miller, shorts, sunglasses on, hat.
Folks, if you're hungry, at 1:30 today, there will be a watermelon feed sponsored by Sortenbecker Farms.
It's not one. No, it's
And then
not
at
one.
1:30, we have the open class pet show.
Pet show? There's
No, the open class pet show. They bring like their puppies and their cats and their
I'll be taking it.
Hey, how are you?
Okay, folks, our next class is going to be the breeding meat does 6 months to under 1 year. First presenter is going to be Lydia Foos. And folks, if you see names repeated, that's because they got multiple animals and only one presenter. The next one's also going to be Lydia Foos,
We're all in
and then Bentley Lynn, and then again for Bentley Lynn. And remember, this is our meat dough class. Meat dough class. Raise your hand if you've ever tried goat butter. Only got one. Only got one. It is delightful. Very, very popular meal in certain Hispanic communities and African communities. It is a great source of meat, and they are delightful, especially in a pulled pork form. You got to try it out.
Here's one of their project members.
Judge just made me aware that goat meat is actually the most consumed meat in the world. So, a little food for thought.
I think it's actually sheep. I'm gonna Google it. Because mutton is consumed more than. Listen, this is the most engaged crowd ever. We're gonna educate our crowd today. I'm loving it.
For a couple grand, I'll announce everything. Always.
Couple grand?
Couple
I'll
grand.
post the fair. Actually, Jared's our fair board president. Let's throw it his way.
Goat is delicious.
You guys ever had it?
Especially you like, oh, I love it. I love it.
Oh yeah, it's ground right now.
We'd like to thank some of our sponsors that make this possible. The Don Gleason Memorial, Goats and Co., Mills County Fair Board, Triple F Farms, Barrett Heating and Air Conditioning, Gary and Alice Bozeman, and the Newmeister family. And I'd like to correct myself. There was a sponsor on here that we misrepresented. It's actually going to be Mint Beef and B&B Ranch, so thank you for their sponsorship.
That's funny. That's just his pork.
What's that?
That's just his pork.
Who says pork?
Whatever this is right here. Pork, chicken, beef, right? That's not us. I'm
Oh,
looking. I'm going
you
home.
got the whole Middle East. I mean, that's crazy.
Oh, very true. I always thought I can't say that I know much about that, but that sounds right.
No, it's all of it. Everybody I've ever known that's been still just annoyed over that goat.
We're gonna switch this way. Let's get it. Thumbs up and support. What is the number one meat eaten in the world according to the United Nations Food and Agricultural Report?
There's no way it's pork. You're talking about
I know.
like a billion plus muscles, so won't it? Yeah, you can't. Well, and
I wouldn't even like to eat it. Isn't that pork?
but you can kill it, you get it pork. Yeah, the
36%. Poultry is 33. Beef is 24. Goat and sheep combined is 5%. I've looked up food and they all say in the world it's pork.
because math has a lot of like for Cinco de Mayo. Oh, there he is.
I know my dad used to eat shit all the time. Shit.
Okay, we're going to start with this doe that's just extremely correct on her feet and legs. A doe that shows us a lot of volume about herself. And even though she shows us so much muscle and condition, this doe is still lean. When you feel her in the rib, you can still feel some rib bone. But this doe is really explosive when you get out over the top. She's really bold in her design as far as the length and depth of her loin. What really impresses us too is that this doe is just heavily muscled on that inner thigh, more so than the paint doe that stands behind her. The paint doe that stands behind her isn't just quite as correct on the front set of her leg, not quite as correct on the rear set of her leg. She does show us a lot of volume throughout, but she also shows us a little more condition. When you handle her over the rib, you don't feel the rib, you feel the white muscle, as sometimes we call it. But having said that, she's very explosive, very productive out over the top, very bold in her design. But when you get on that inner thigh, she's just not carrying quite as much muscle. When we get into the next little doe, a doe that's just smaller in her frame, a doe that stands on a nice set of feet and legs for us, a doe that shows us a lot of correctness about herself, but she's just a smaller version of these other two does. Her day of age is against her. If she were older, she would probably have the chance to advance and have more muscle throughout. But today, she's just not where the other two does are. And then as we come into this next doe, she's just a doe that's a lighter framed doe, lighter made doe. She's sharper over that wither. She falls off sharper from hooks to pins. Just a lot lighter in her muscle pattern. Give them all a great big round of applause. Well, yeah, we could have give that first though. So, yeah, just the one. Yeah, sometimes I forget, you know. Is it too late to give my champion myotonic or purple? Just that first place myotonic. She was the champion doe.
Goat We have
Legs hurt.
went over that question and answer was fur. Also not a fur, goats for a gas.
I found out if you want to do good in showmanship, get an animal that jumps.
Right? No,
Then
I
you
was
control
like,
it and keep a smile on
I
your
was
face.
worried about it. I was like, oh, her thing's jumping.
That's what happened to me.
Steve's girlfriend's got her big kid. The same kid. She's so cute. I love her.
Oh, no. Levers. Okay.
Okay, we've got a doe that's a really big volume doe, but she's got a few problems. As she tracks around the ring, she doesn't reach very far. She's just a little more stifled as she moves. She's just a little posty in the rear set of her leg, but she's got volume. When you handle her, she's just really explosive out over that top for me. She's well sprung in the rib. She's carrying a little more condition, but she's got so many good qualities that we're just going to allow that. Because what we did, we brought these goats from South Africa where all they had was browse, trees and branches and limbs, and they made lean muscle out of it. We throw corn to them and they don't have to do anything. So pretty soon they're just going to get fat. It's not their fault. It's our fault. Our doe in second, we're going to grant length of body to this doe. This doe's really extreme in the length of her loin as well. She's just not carrying the volume of muscle that the doe ahead of her has. She's not showing us much muscle on that inner thigh, but I'm going to grant to her a correct set to her rear leg. Really appreciate how correct she is on that rear set of her leg. And then when we come into this next doe, a doe that's just a little shorter coupled, a little sharper over that top of that shoulder. She falls off just a little sharper from hooks to pins. Not quite the same bone to muscle ratio, but a nice young doeling for this young lady. Give them all a great big round of applause.
Congratulations to our participants. Way to go, guys. Let's not forget tonight at 7, motocross. Motocross. It will be an amazing show for all ages, so make sure you're there.
They help every year, but they never actually have their own. They're right. Super stupid. Yeah, goats are great. Yeah, no, goats are also stupid. They're all stupid. So anything, I'm sure pretty much all of it. I agree with that.
Okay, we have our next class here. It's going to be breeding meat does under 5 years. Our first presenter here is going to be Stephen Barrett, and then Lydia Foos.
Last class, right? Honestly, it's on a horse.
Reminder, folks, from 3 o'clock tonight, bingo. And at 4 p.m., we actually have a dog agility show in the arena. So if you're not doing anything, make sure you bring out your dog for the dog agility show.
There's from the, am I called AKC?
Thank you, AKC.
Silent Act auction baskets will be located in the commercial building. Baskets were donated by 4-H clubs. This money goes to help support all the 4-H events. Thank you.
She's being a Facebook mom.
I am.
You
Gonna make a picture.
yesterday?
People sent me photos. I didn't take any myself. I'm trying to make Facebook albums this year.
Oh,
I
wow.
know, listen, elevating my social media.
She's really social media takeover.
I have it in Mom's car.
Okay, so give me a sec. I will do ribbons for you.
You do those.
Good job, Megan.
I got it. He's not giving purple, so hey, get your purple out your pocket, mister. Go back.
Okay. Oh, you're gonna be presenting trophies then.
Oh, fudge. And I look like this? Oh, darn it.
Where's Yannick?
Okay, we're going to start with the dough that's just the more volume dough. When you analyze this dough, she's just chock full of meat. This dough starts with a lot of width in that chest floor. She's got a great spring of rib, really nice rib design and shape. She comes back into this really wide hip. She's really deep in that loin for me. I really appreciate that. And then she's just extremely heavily muscled on that inner thigh. She's very wedge-shaped and maternal. Just a really, really nice doe to win this class for you. Our doe in second. Our doe in second. Our doe in second. Our doe in second. I'm going to grant length of body to this doe, extension in that neck. A doe that does show us a lot of length of loin, but she's not as heavy in that loin as the doe that stands ahead of her. She's not as heavily muscled on that inner thigh, but a doe that's got a lot of potential length of body. This doe can go out and raise you a bunch of kids and do really well. Give them both a great big round of applause.
Congratulations to our presenters.
Good job.
Where are those? Where are the ribbons? Both blues. Both blues. Blues.
Did you see where the statuary like shown?
I heard you couldn't wear any of that stuff because it influences. So,
But
yep.
he's gonna help him. This next guy's gonna come through and he's gonna
Matt, you ready?
and you're just gonna go out there and present the trophies and stand up. Look sharp.
I want to thank some of our other sponsors, Hilltop Animal Hospital, Gray Family, Glenwood State Bank, Bob and Candace Moore, Mills and Montgomery
Yeah, when I was
County Corn Growers Association, Paul Mellencamp Memorial, and Benton Beef and B&B Ranch. So we actually have one more goat trivia question. One more goat trivia question. What's the average lifespan of a goat?
Not 10.
Okay, we're going to hold off on that question. We have what everybody's been waiting for. We have the Breeding Meat Goes Championship Drive.
Ready for it?
Green and white. That's your favorite meat. Love the cows. Baby chicks.
So, that doesn't tell me who the winners are. 15 years. That jar is yours. Yeah. So they need to tell me who 1 and 2 are if they want 1 and 2.
So, for the championship drive, Stella Mayberry, Lydia Foos, Lydia Foos, Lydia Foos, Lydia Foos, Stephen Barrett, and Lydia Foos and Stephen Barrett. forget, guys, today at noon, tractor parade. Then from 12 to 2, face painting of balloons in the show arena. 10:30 to 11, ugly cake entries are due. Then 10 to 2, pony rides. Pony rides, South Force Arena.
What'd she say?
And the grand champion breeding meat doe in this class is presented by Bob and Janice Moore. And the reserve champion breeding meat doe is presented by Triple F Farms. Thank you for your sponsorship.
Oh.
Depending on who wins, I'm gonna need tag numbers.
They have to help. Okay, as we select our drive, as we've evaluated these animals today, if we look down our champion lineup, they're kind of like cookie cutter. They're just very similar in type and kind. We have does that stand on a great set of feet and legs, does that show us extension in the neck and refinement in the head, and then they show us power and might throughout. They just really exude in muscle pattern, but yet they show us femininity and refinement. When you look at them, you know it's a doe. You don't have to question it. But there's one doe that just really floats to the top very easily. She's the most correct on her feet and legs. She's the doe that's my balanced doe. She's the doe that shows the most spring of rib. She's really exciting when you handle her out over the top. The exhibitor pretty much knows that because that's the doe she chose to represent rather than the multiple does that she has out here in this class. But having said that, I'll go select your grand champion market doe, and she's just super correct on the rear set of her leg, super correct on her front legs, extremely muscled for us, heavily muscled on the inner thigh, but when you look at her, you know she's a doe.
Congratulations to our grand champion breeding meat doe, Lydia Foos. Congratulations. And congratulations, reserve champion breeding meat doe to Lydia Foos also. Congratulations, Lydia.
Yeah.
I suggested next year, we name the goats and they come out by the goats name. Schedule. Yeah. All my goats have names.
And once again, thank you to our sponsors for those awards. Grand Champion Breeding Meat Doe is presented by Bob and Janice Moore, and Reserve Champion Breeding Meat Doe presented by Triple F Farms. Congratulations, Lydia.
The one that got second is the only one that's got purple. Unless it's switched. Unless you told me backwards.
purple and 3 blue. Okay, as we evaluate the meat class, this is a muscle-driven industry. As I reported earlier, we import 335 million metric ton of goat meat into the United States each month because we can't produce enough meat as it's being consumed. In fact, there are several companies that would like to start processing goat, but they just can't get started because they don't know that they'll have a supply all the time. And so we have a product that's highly viable, and any size animal works. We have an industry that is just so flexible and so diverse, and so we need to captivate on that. You know, we can have a small wether, and we've got a sale place for it. We can have a larger wether place for it, medium wethers. Everybody has a place to go. But we're going to start with the wether that just shows us the most amount of muscling. He shows muscle in that foreleg, width in that chest floor. He shows me muscle down that neck. He's strong and bold out over the top. He's showing muscle on that inner thigh and down into that stifle. Just a really nice wether for this young lady. When we come into the next wether, he's got good bone to muscle ratio. He's limping just a little bit on that back leg. We're not going to hold that against him because he's not a breeding animal. He's a meat animal, and he's going to be terminal anyway. But he's just a little soft in his muscle pattern. We'd just like to see a little more depth to that loin area for us, more muscle on that inner thigh. Then as we come into the next two wethers that are very similar in their type and kind, they're just probably more juvenile, and so they haven't had the chance to gain and produce like these other wethers have. And so they're going to stand back just a little bit. But two really nice wethers. Give all these exhibitors a great big round of applause.
Congratulations to all our presenters.
You doing okay? Oh, you're doing great. Do you need any? Oh, you got water? Anything else? Good. No, you're doing a great job. Thank you. Well, you don't have to walk far if that's the case.
Okay, folks, like I said, this is still going to be the market goats, any breed
Okay, we're going to start with a weather again that satisfies all of our demands of what we're looking for in a weather. It's got great bone to muscle ratio in this weather. This weather shows me width in that chest floor. He shows me expressional muscling in that foreleg. It shows me width again in that chest floor, and then levelness up through that neck. When you handle him out over the top, he's really explosive when you get to the length and depth of his loin. He shows me muscle on that inner thigh and down into that stifle. He's not behaving himself that well for the young lady, but he's what he needs to be. My weather in second, again, follows my first place weather, close and type and kind. He just doesn't carry as much muscle on that inner thigh down into that stifle. He certainly has some muscle in that loin area for me and a great rib shape and design, but just not as much muscle on that inner thigh. So we come into this next weather that's just a little bit, again, lighter in its muscle pattern. Wants to fall off sharper from hooks to pins. We want that hooks to pins to be level because that's going to give us a bigger hip. Bigger hip yields bigger meat when we process. And so we just like see a little more muscle on that inner thigh and down into his stifle. And again, when we get to this weather that's just a little sharper when you get to the top of those withers for us. Again, a little, I guess it's a little dough, but we'd like to see a little more, again, muscle on that inner thigh and down into that stifle. Let's give them all a great big round of applause.
Congratulations to Samuel and Braxton Pratt and all our presenters. Now we're ready for our third and final group. First presenter is going to be Jamie Benton, then Jaden Wildebush, and then Jordan Wildebush. Big thank you to our sponsors for the Champion Market Goat, Don Bleasing Memorial, and Reserve Champion Market Goat, Iowa Beef Goat Association. Thank you to our sponsors.
So for our championship for Lydia, Jackson, and Firebird, same for Braxton, right? So far, for our championship, correct? They were first and second, and then first and second.
Somebody volunteering. Some.
I know. It smells good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You won't mess it up.
Right.
I don't know. Do you have a plastic? Do you have a? I
Yeah, no
think.
clue. Amber was telling me. She told me she thought she did, but
Oh.
we were supposed to.
Who's your rated game?
Right here, renegade.
Oh. I thought you. We announced it somewhere in the middle, and then they give it out at the end. Yep.
I have the.
After this, before showmanship, should we do it, or should we go to the very end before the open show?
Do it at the very end. Otherwise, you're gonna mess it
Here's
up.
the rated game.
I've been mentally preparing for this for weeks.
There's your rated game.
Well, he now he has to announce it.
Oh.
Amber just gave it to me.
Let's do that.
Okay.
Trophies. I'm like,
Hey, we're going to start with the little weather that's just really complete package for us today. He's really solid when you get your hands on him. He shows us muscle in that foreleg, width in that chest floor. When you handle him down over the top, he's got a great rib design. Comes on back into a really full hip for me. Shows us levelness in that hip as well. Fullness on that inner thigh and down into that stifle. My polka dot weather follows him closest in type and kind as far as width in the chest floor, muscle on that inner thigh. He's just a little bit lighter in his pattern today, but again, a really, really nice weather. When we get into the larger weather, he's shown us a lot of frame and a lot of big weather, really long in that loin area, but we just need a few more days on grain for him to catch up with these others, because what he's done, he's grown up into his frame, and now he's starting to put on muscle. We just want to see some more muscle for today, but give them all a great big round of applause.
Congratulations to Jamie Vince, Jordan Willis, and all our participants.
So.
Just announced Group 1 first.
Wow.
Okay, guys, are you ready for our championship drive for Market Goats? First presenter is going to be Lydia Foos, then Jackson Tyler. Then we're going to have Cassandra Gold, Braxton Pratt, Jamie Benton, and Jordan Goldberg. And this championship Market Goat is presented by Don Bridges Memorial, and then the reserve champion Market Goat is presented by Iowa Meat Goat Association. Thank you to our sponsors. And speaking of sponsors, thank you to some of our sponsors for this event: the Don Bridges Memorial, Goats & Co., Mills County Fairboard, Chevrolet Farm, Barrett Heating and Air Conditioning, Gary and Alice Wilson, New License Family, Hilltop Animal Hospital, Gray Family, Glenwood State Bank, Bob and Jansen Hole, Mills and Montgomery County Corn Growers Association, Paul Valley Memorial, and can't forget Vinton Beef and B&B Ranch. Thank you to our sponsors.
Ooh.
You want a button?
Cool.
You want a button to pin it up there?
Yeah, we should put the buttons. Yeah. It's nicer.
I had so many people come up to me and just like lick my belt buckle, and I'm like, that's so weird. It's so weird.
Ooh.
Hey, throw in my belt.
It goes in that I like it. Mm.
Don't forget, folks, from 10 to 2, Pony Rides, Soccer Horse Arena. And then 10 to 8, we have Barnyard Critters, Backyard Farm.
We ready? Okay. Okay. I know it's green. Green for go. Hello? Okay, again, as I said, this is a muscle-driven industry. So we're going to select the animal that just exudes as far as muscle and meat and power. The weather that's just all that, and it doesn't matter which class it came out of. It's going to be the weather that's the most competitive as far as the meat is concerned. The weather that shows us the most balance as far as width of chest floor, muscle up through that neck. When you get to the top, he just exudes in meat and power. And, you know, I said before that I got in trouble for slapping the goat, but I can't resist. I'm going to slap the champion. Okay. Go up there and show him off. You come right here. And some of these weathers are hard for the exhibitors to handle and hard for the youngsters to show, but I know what I'm looking at. I know what is going to yield when it hangs on the rail for me. He's going to be our reserve. Give them all a great big round of applause.
Congratulations to Champion Market Pico, Jamie Vint, and Reserve Champion Market Go, Sandra Rawls. And thank you to our sponsors for the support, Las Vegas Memorial, and Iowa Go Champion. Way to go.
Cool.
Alright,
Thank you.
showmanship and that's it.
What's that?
Showmanship.
Showmanship.
All that's left.
You'll be glad to get rid of them, right?
And congratulations again
Back
to
until
Jamie
2:30.
and Sandra. Thank you for
Now we have our junior got showmanship.
So you've been with Extinction a long time?
Yes and no. Why?
An extension
Have you
years,
ever
yes.
heard of Kelly Swan?
No.
What?
No, haven't. Certain county or is that state?
Well, she was Wapello County for a while. She helped out Davis County, but she's my daughter. She was the mother of the
I know
2019
Kelly
Iowa
Swan.
State Fair.
Whoa.
I love her.
That's
She's so nice.
from Wapello County?
Daily Swan.
Davis
I have
County.
heard that name though, but there's a lot of us. We don't always get
Oh,
to
yeah.
meet everybody.
Oh, yeah.
What does she do in Wapello?
Well, now she's a teacher.
What
This
did she?
is the-
What did she do?
She was, what is it, CE?
County Youth
My job,
Coordinator.
CYC.
Yep. County Youth Coordinator. Awesome. Good
Cool.
deal.
See some cute babies? My favorite thing about
I'm gonna start. Do you need that? So you can stretch some more. Come on.
You
Come
need
on.
it too. Sorry, I was joking, baby. That sounds awful.
I know.
That sounds weird.
I was like, and he was like stupid.
Like our brain flooded.
Warming up.
Son? No, we just pushed it back a little bit so it got a little drier.
Oh wow.
Keep
Nice
walking.
and
Walk a
dry
little
to that.
faster. Walk a little faster. A little faster. A little faster. Keep walking.
On
On the other side now. There you go. Go, go.
like a goat. And I was like,
Twelve to two today will be face painting and balloons at the show arena. 12:30 we got local stuff in with that show. And then don't forget tonight, motocross. It will be an amazing time. Fun for all ages, so make sure you're there.
I was going to, like, I'm going to Nebraska, so you can even walk earlier.
Really?
So I don't think I'll be able to make it up there. I mean, I'll probably go up there for a day. Just work. But I was there every day last year.
Spread the wealth.
I think I did my best.
That's a lot of juniors. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11.
Oh yeah, some of it's moving, some of it's no. That you finish this one. That's probably accurate.
What happens? Now he has to just go head to heads. cargo buyer down in Fremont County, and I posted about rain at our sheep show anniversary, and she said, "How many did you have?" I said, "I think it was right around 40, maybe a little less." She goes, "We might have 14." I'm like, I don't know how to help you.
That could be hogs this year.
We don't have as many animals.
No.
How many kids does Dusty have? They're all graduated? Not narrowly graduated this year, the next year. She's got little. None of them perform. Just what Rich was. He's I said, he's right. He kicked butt in the rain.
When's Harris? No, I can't.
Come on, go.
Amber. Oh my gosh, wow. Wow. I'm so proud of you.
Pull it up on my phone. Yes, I do.
I should say thank you. Not me. I mean, I saw the text and I was like, Carter would be. Like, and then half of our planking
How you
is
doing?
at the ground. I was like, no,
Good.
you enjoying the duck show? Little
Yeah.
therapy duties while they were gone. And I was like,
I was going to
my
play Lisa.
time was passed. No, I already won. I went 2 years
Yeah,
ago, Carter.
I know.
Done.
I don't know. Can you
Although I did have to crown him.
Since she's here, where should I think we need to go? I know what to. I do. You don't want to do it by yourself. I was thinking you're here. I am here, and I was just like, I'm here behind the sheets on. But we're not doing any kind of supervisor.
They canceled the frisbee contest?
Whose contest?
They canceled the frisbee contest? I think so. Yeah, I don't.
Frisbee was yesterday.
Yesterday's contest got canceled. Okay, my schedule for today has the frisbee contest at 2 that I'm supposed to help with, and it's not on.
Well, actually, now you say it. Yeah, they pushed on. Hang on, I got you. One moment. Doing it again today?
Maybe they rescheduled it.
Which would be fun.
Yeah.
One class. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, like you've seen them all show. Like if you do it first, it get a little longer, but you're doing it last. So like you Yeah. Like 45 minutes for every single class. Like it ran till like 3 o'clock. And it started
Let's go do it anyway.
I mean, she had it on the schedule for today, and that was like my thing to help her with that too.
You can come help me with Clovers. Is there anyone helping with
County
Clovers?
council's supposed to help with Clovers.
Are you Clover gets judging?
Oh yeah, yeah. So we have our stuffed animal pet show in here, and then Clover gets judging down there.
Oh my god.
It follows each other. Okay. I can help with this. All you gotta send me reminders. You remind me that it has to remind me.
You need to remind me what all shove them to different judges when it's open.
Yeah, just like
What slips are there though? Do they fill out the
It's a
slip?
tiny little thing. They'll fill it out.
They know it?
It's
Okay.
not
Okay.
anything complicated. It's Clover Kids.
I didn't think so,
The ribbons
but-
are in there. I gotta go down there, get some ribbons, bring it back up here.
They get one for every project or just for each?
So they can bring up to 3 for Clover Kids static judgment.
And then they just get
Oh
this one ribbon over.
Yes.
Oh.
That's Maddie number one. Sorry.
Hey, did you get your ticket for round robin?
When I missed it! Oh my gosh. So
Steady?
I got the wrong one to say champ. I didn't sign.
I think they might both say that. I don't know if they got changed. They both. They,
Do you need it still or you have one?
No, I have one.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to make sure.
I was like, you got it. I've got that, Jolie.
they both say grand champion.
I didn't know. It's on the community center.
Because when you're in a ring, nobody knows. I mean, we know, but the judge doesn't. So.
That was so bad though. That was like just and then Dan like a week into Snapchat when you were gonna get messages. And so like Maddie just sent me a picture of her little like potato thing. And I was like, oh,
Or show us the judges do that. You literally
oh, I think they can switch.
Why would they, if they know that, then why did they?
I don't know.
course.
In junior?
But it's a test.
Ah.
Are you
Supposed to know, you're supposed to know to say no.
The judge was walking up to the and say, "Can I take your horse?" And she'll say, "No." And if you say yes, then
Thank you know. Interesting.
yes.
No.
This is actually quite comfy for me. I'm not gonna lie. Like, that kind of office is not pressure on me.
A little faster for them too. A little faster.
Like, well, I'm saying it, so please just
your turn to shine. It's about you and your ability to show an animal to the best of its projective conformation. And so that's why I switched some of the goats with you, because I want to see if you can show someone else's goat so that it looks just as good as when it was in your hands, or if it looks better in your hands than it did in the owner's hands. Showmanship is also about what you've learned, what you've experienced. So I ask questions about that. Showmanship is also about the way you dress, and all of you are dressed correctly for showmanship. And then it's about your ability to be in the ring and smile and keep the goat between you and the judge, and always present the goat as good as you can. And having said that, I'll select a champion and reserve showman. We're still, juvenile. We're in the learning process. We've got a lot going on, but I feel that one individual just had quite a bit of knowledge about their project, and they did a fairly good job of presenting their animal to me. And I'll go select that individual now. Okay.
We all work together.
Oh, it's flashing now.
What's that?
There you go.
Okay, it takes a team to get the mics to going, but anyway, as we evaluated these three showmen, when they had a different goat in their hand, it was a little more challenging sometimes. And so, we had a little bit of difficulty with that. But we had one exhibitor that, as I analyzed her, she could take this animal and set it without touching its legs. And that's what we're looking for. That's what we're working toward, because you want it to be just kind of automatic, that you walk in the ring and set the goat. A lot of times we spend too much time messing with the goat's legs and trying to get them set up. And when the judge is right on top of you, if you're not set up, just stop anyway, because they're already there. And so, having said that, the young lady that just is going to be your champion is this young lady right here. This young lady will be your reserve. And they just have the advantage of having a few more years. So you've got a lot of time to catch up. Give them all a great big round of applause. Okay, we got one more class after this. It's an open class, so it's going to be for like exhibitors that don't have the chance to exhibit, so maybe real young type kids and things like that. But I just want to say that I've enjoyed doing the show. I want to thank you for inviting me here today. I want to thank all the people that are behind the scenes that put the show on, for the young man that's announcing for us, and all my ring help today. They've been excellent. And just again, thank you for everything that we've did today, and it's been a beautiful day for a goat show. When it comes down to my senior showman, the two girls are just ultra competitive. And they even took it to the next level with the Metonic. They kind of did a brace and set her, and actually she looked pretty good. But I feel like one of these is just a little more competitive. She knew when I looked at something, and she adjusted for it right then and there, and really got my attention and got things to going better. So you're going to realize the two girls are going to be the champion in reserve. Sorry, young man, that's just kind of the way it is in life. I mean, you might as well get used to it. Having said that, shake the exhibitor's hand that I felt was just a little more on top of it, but they're both top-notch showmen.
Congratulations to Senior Showmanship Champion, Jamie Benton.